Welcome to Obstacle Running Adventures.
Awesome. So now for the big change of combining the elite and age group for overall competitive waves, similar to what you would see in a trail race or a road race, where the top three are the podiums, and then from there are the age groups. So what are your feelings on this change? I'm already getting a good sense of where you're going with it.
Yeah, no, overall, bottom line, it's positive. Like you said, top three or will be the elite podiums, if you will, the overall, and then everyone else will trickle down. Well, there's a precedent already for the Savage Race. I've run Savage Race, same what, right? As you mentioned, road racing. I just ran the 29th annual Army 10 miler in DC, big race, 30,000 people. And I had to submit my time to prove what I could race so they could tier me in which wave. Luckily, I already ran it last year, so it was easy to submit that time. You go in the very first wave. So one, there's some excitement about that. Just being, you're in the pro wave, the very front wave of a big, national level race. That definitely some goodness. So the good thing is saying there's some precedent already. It's not new. Change is always difficult. Just like any organization, you really have to continue to grow. Now, are all changes you make going to be good? No. And Spartan is just microcosm of many organizations that have implemented changes that weren't good, but have tried to adjust, evolve, listen to feedback, and we're hoping this. But this is something I know Brack and Kirk and on the Race Brain, they said probably a year ago. This is something I have said would be great for the sports selfishly. So to get to your question, I look at it from two perspectives: one, selfishly; two, from the athlete and the perspective of the environment. So for me, selfishly, I like this for the simple fact is, one, when you are on, you're going to have a bigger corral, first off, because you're going to be seated by your times. In the age group, there's this thing called the triple one, the coveted triple one, the
Yep.
1-1-1. Now, it's the most acknowledged because Spartan, there's no stat for that. There's no award for that. But those of us in the age group at the very top of all age groups understand and are fighting for the triple one, which is, first overall in age, first in gender, and first in age group. So those triple ones, there can only be one.
Yes.
And that is something, whether when I'm racing, even if I'm at the front, I'm looking, I was like, okay, who's in the 30s, who showed up, who's in the 30s, or who showed up that's in the 20s. Okay, I know they're going to be pushing. I have to push myself because we all, when we get to the end, we're looking through the results and we're like, okay, who got the first overall in age group, right? So we're being driven. And there's so many times, me and even a few of my other peers in the top age groups, you're like, hey, you got the triple ones. You got me by 5 seconds. They're in, 2 age groups away. There was no way to know you're not running with them. Well, now I always said, wow, I wish we were running together. And now we get that opportunity. You're going to be able to push and drive, and it's going to increase and improve overall times. And it's nothing against, my age groups, whether it's mine or my 40s, but I went to elite because I like to be attacked and I like to attack.
Yeah.
And a lot of times in your regional races, you're not going to always have, and not just my age group, but other age groups, you're not always going to have that level of competition in your age group. But now when you combine them on one start line, you got the elite and you got the fastest of all age groups there. And that's going to, again, let you race your best race. It's going to improve your potential. As I stated, I was looking at my, sometimes from some matching a sprint race, a double sprint weekend where I had run age group like in Charlotte. The next day I ran elite. That Charlotte race this year, age group, I took first. I was like, wow, yeah, I couldn't have run any better. Had a great race, solid, jumped into the elite, podiumed in second place, but I beat my time in a short sprint by 7. Yeah, so it was almost 8%. There was no way I thought. So that's because you have that competition. You're being attacked. That's going to happen now on the start line.
Yeah.
The true potential of athletes who thought they were at their ceiling, they're going to be able to break through that.
Yeah.
And so I think ultimately, yeah, for athletes, this is going to be great. In the start corral, the excitement is going to be palpable because you're right there with whether it's elite, it doesn't matter. The fastest of the faster there. So yeah, selfishly, I think this is a great move when you look at what it's going to do to individual potentials and race. Now, the other aspect is now what is it going to do for spectating? Well, now this is great because before you had the elites would go off, and that's where the intention was. Whether it's Spartan videoing, now that whole front line or that first wave is going to be full your elite and your top age, that full competitive, and so you're going to have that excitement. You're going to have now battles throughout. Where in age groups, sometimes you're not having those ones or twos. But now you have all age groups battling because you're in, like capability and speed. You're going to have a battle from start to end. There's going to be battles all the way to the end of the race, through the finish line. So for spectators, they're going to get to see this, well, as courses obviously come through the venue area, they're going to be able to witness this. And if you beat them, that's good because we're trying to beat you anyway. We know we're going to fall into our respective age groups anyway, podiums, if you don't get the 1, 2, or 3 overall. But it's just going to bring that level of competition out.